thoughts on the Beatrix?
Yep, definitely agree with that. I think now the challenge for Team SMG is that we know that they have dominated their games against Evo last week. So the question is, Flash, I don't think they're going to give them such an easy and straightforward game. So now the question for me is, can SMG play from behind? Because we've seen them play when they have the advantage.
I think things are a little too early at this stage, right? I mean, teams are kind of getting a feel for one another and how they're going to play out. But I just kind of want to talk a little bit about the Beatrix, right? You brought that one up. I think in terms of the MPL PH, and I rush like a coward and shoot you down with a Wesker, bursting you 100 and 0 in the blink of an eye. That's the Beatrix. I don't even need to mention Ibiru that shreds through every single tank out there. So that's the reason why Beatrix is not only just like, it's a hotly contested commodity. It's something they will fight for. But if you ban it, you also put a bit of a weight on top of yourself.
Okay.
It makes a little bit of sense. But what are your thoughts on Kin?
I think besides that, talking about Beatrix, that's one of the very strong characters, right? But now let's shift the attention to Flash instead. Now, Flash also had their moments in the previous week. They had access to one of my favorite heroes, Valentina. Another hero that I think should be instantly banned out. So, will we see Valentina today?
But that said, let's go to the first team intro and who is going to be up first. We're going to see exactly what are the keys to victory. I think it's going to be a big one. Team Flash up here, what are your thoughts about all of these different pieces?
Yep, like I was mentioning before, week 1, they actually get a couple of heroes that they are very happy with. One of them is Pupo and Koopa, the other one is Valentina. So these are the core carry heroes that, Team Flash has been made available in the games that they had against their opponents. So now, is this the key winning factor for them this game? I'm not sure, because I'm very sure that SMG will not allow these picks to go through. So we might see they have to do some adjustments on their end.
Definitely, MPL SG, if you want to play on this kind of stage, you need to be adaptive at all times. Team Flash was able to adapt against Zion Esports, last week, and they did it pretty well. Another thing that you have to point out from the side of Team Flash is to basically abuse the fact that Team SMG, their strongest offense is also their defense. And with that said, let's go over to the side of Team SMG. Team SMG, right, they're super aggressive in the earlier parts of the game, and that's where, they have to be a little bit careful. Don't give too much information, don't push their boundaries a little bit too much. Another point of view is, from the side of SMG, because it's Pokemon's first day in MPLSG as well, they need to be a little bit cautious about Pokemon. Test the waters a little bit. If it's too cold, back off.
Yep, definitely. I mean, we all know that SMG is able to close out a game very well. That's one of the strong points as a team. So now, Holler, of course, this is your new week coming in. What do you expect? What was your prediction for this match?
To be honest, I went in with Team Flash. I think that at this table, there's only one detractor, and I'll let him speak on his own for that. But the reason for that is that I look at past history. Team Flash was 3rd place in Season 3. They've proven that they're going to continue on to being a very strong team. Whereas Team SMG haven't really had that silver spoon. They've had to make their way into this, by going through the qualifiers, and it's an arduous task. Very difficult one, but let's talk a little bit why you thought Team SMG. All right, first of all, I feel like Team SMG is a dark horse in MPL Season 4 this time around. Like, we've been surprised last season where Evo was the dark horse, but this time around I feel like SMG is taking that role away from Evo. They could be the Titan Slayer, and here you go, the audience predictions going up. This time around, it feels like the audience is siding me this time around. Okay, well, the audience is wrong just as well as you. Let's be honest. Just started off with a bang, right? Like, that's how it's gonna be. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love you guys that are watching at home, but you guys need to do your homework, because Team Flash is the team that everybody needs to be afraid of. I think Team Flash is going to be on the case, but let's see. Maybe I'm raising expectations, but Kin, I think that you and I both agree on Flash. But what are your thoughts?
All right. I mean, we're definitely aligned on this. So let me talk about Team Flash. There's a reason why they're called Team Flash. If you take a look at the game they won last week, it was a comeback game. They last all the way to the late game, so they are very comfortable with playing from behind. So right now, Team SMG, we all know they can close the game, but if they don't manage to close the game early is Team Flash. And from what I see and what the stats you have provided with us, Team Flash knows how to play this game. So yeah, I mean the audience is wrong. But let's take a hit, right?
Wow. I mean, okay, maybe we're going a little heavy at this point. Yeah, we don't know how they're going to be. It's still very.
I got a feeling that there's a bunch of viewers out there with pitchforks ready to just burn you guys up.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they can find me at JCCast, right? And and come at me, bro. Right? That's all I'm going to say.
I'm on Team SMG, but ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into the draft right off the bat. Team Flash bans away the Paquito. First of all,
it's going to start it off as well as the Thermos there. I mean, I think the Thermos is going to be one of those hotly, definitely heavily banned. I think that in the other regions as well, it's second most banned in PH and ID. Incredibly strong hero that they need to ban out right to start.
Yeah, that's right. If you take a look at the draft last week, they also banned out the Beatrix the Theramis as well. Another huge ban they have is the Paquito, which was banned out by Rum. So, of course, we already know that SMG, they love the Beatrix, and they would expect that this Beatrix would be banned already from Team Flash. So they're going to do the self-ban instead. Now, the question is, how are they going to make this composition up for their team to try and win this game 1?
I think the fact that, I don't think it's a self-ban. I think the Flash is just really... Wait, hold on a second. All right, so on the left is actually SMG. On the right is Team Flash. Sorry. Like I said, Battle of the Oranges. It gets a little bit confusing even for the caster's desk. But from the side of Team Flash, they banned away the Beatrix because they really know the power of Enya on that. The first main act of the season needs to be... that hero needs to be taken away from SMG. Now, Team SMG, on the other hand, will be banning away the 1-1, one of the strongest marksmen in the meta. But as of now, I'm looking through the marksman list. It's actually getting a little bit stark.
Yep, that's right. I mean, they have access to characters like Clint. That's one of the possible picks they might consider, right? Huge Burst is kind of the style that SMG likes to play as well. And of course, I think one of the heroes that I'm kind of looking out for is going to be Rum's Ruby. He did really well last week, so I'm expecting, for him to have this pick in his pocket as well. Now, besides that, the other hero that we normally see that's getting picked is the Balmont. So I'm not sure how that will work out for this week.
Yeah, now the issue is from the side of SMG, first pick, open heroes that are super wide open for them to take. The Valentina, they really need to prioritize that away. And then with that said, it feels like game number 2 of Team Flash against Team Zion. Now Team SMG dictates the flow of the draft. We need to see how Team Flash reacts to it.
That's right. A lot of doors are being closed right now. Options are getting limited. Of course, we're going to have 5 bans from each team. Now, if you take a look at the draft that SMG had last week, they had their hands on the Xavier as well. So this is going to be interesting. Xavier, another huge potential for huge kills as well. And we all know SMG, they're very strong. They're very well versed in all these different heroes. I would like to see how they're going to team up against Flash, because like we said, Flash, they're able to hold on to games, make sure that they don't lose it, get the farm in, and then come back, turn it around in a huge way like they have done against Zion last week.
Yep, and Popo and Kuba will be selected as well as that Bauman. Remember right now, Team SMG, they do have the Valentina. It's up to Team Flash to kind of cut the losses. Don't give away those big ultimates. Big ultimates that Team Flash is already secured against SMG right now. I'm looking at a lethal counter, this Bauman, and all of a sudden, you basically give away that double retribution benefit that you secured for yourself when you secured that Bauman. Now, SMG can take that as well. I'm not surprised if Joe actually uses that Valentina, take that little counter, and then use that to secure neutral objective. So that's something that we have to see going to this game.
That's right. The lethal counter is going to be a very huge skill that these teams will both try to use. And of course, Rum going to secure a Marsha this time, right? Fairly fresh for them. But this is similar to the draft that we've seen. And Davey, of course, going to get his hands on the Yi. Real world manipulation. This is going to be a very tough fight for them.
Not only just this is a very tough fight for the side of Team Flash. SMG right now just pick. There's a lot of variables here, right? You can always bring the Valentina technically to it's usually going to the mid lane. You can use it as a rogue, but if you really want to toss a wrench into the gears of Flash, play it as an XP laner, then you could basically abuse using the range advantage to cut that XP laner from the side of Team Flash. Not only just that, Marsha could also go to the XP lane, you could go into the rope as well. But the best part about this Marshall pickup from the side of Team SMG is that his role is or even A1, A2 on that Sicilian, and then that's it. But SMG, picking up that Eve, it means that they're really looking for this big all-out fight, use that Marshall to flank.
Yep, I'm really liking SMG's drafting here. They are kind of playing the mind games against Team Flash. Team Flash, of course, they have huge hope potential from Sicilian, but Sicilian is a very difficult hero to play, right? There's a very specific range to deal your max damage from. So with that in mind, I think the way that SMG are going to try and win this game is through the movement as well as the kiting ability of their heroes. Rum, of course, you said going to be trying to jump the back lines of Team Flash, and Team Flash has to be very careful about their positioning because one wrong move, it could spell the end for A1, A2 in any fight as well as Pokemon. So now, Holler, how do you find this draft so far? Are you liking it? I mean, we have chosen Team Flash, right? Is this looking good for us?
I'm a little worried more about the Ballman pick. I think that it's one of the most heavily drafted ones, at least in MPL. Singapore, it definitely has its potential, but in terms of win rate, it hasn't really won that much. It's one of those things that teams really know how to counter against.
But to be honest with you, Holler, if you are signing Team Flash, I can see where they're going. They're going for this mid and late game push, especially late game. Bomber going towards the mid and late game, that's where he kind of starts to shine, where you really have to try to contest the Lord. It put SMG on a little bit on the back foot. They need to be a little bit careful when they go in for this neutral objective because Bauman could just come in, retreat, lethal counter. Hey, this is my Lord. You can't do anything about it. But Team Flash, this is the draft they technically use to win against Zion during the later part of the game. And this emphasizes back to the keys of victory, right? SMG needs to win this game in the early to mid part of the game before Team Flash gets nutty with that Sicilian.
Yeah, exactly. A1, A2, we already know how strong he is on the Sicilian. You can see that gameplay from last week itself. But of course, we as casters, we know, right? When we are looking at the games, the theory is always great. But when it comes down to the execution, that's what matters. The actual shot calling during the momentum of the match is what's going to turn games for them. So of course, with that, Matilda going to be picked up by KZP. We already know how irritating KZP is on specific heroes. Like last week, he played that Selena. The Abyssal Arrow was, the game-winning change for them. Now, is he gonna make this same plays? Personally, we are gonna be a bit biased. I like that team. I like Team Flash. I predicted that Team Flash will win. So of course, I'm gonna be taking a look at what they can do. But of course, with that, Jace, give me your insights on SMG. How are you gonna win this?
I think SMG right now, like I said, with early to mid game. But what SMG has secured for themselves using, yes, this is exactly what I need. The Julian going in for the side of Jocks. Now, SMG needs to snowball in the early part of the game. You secure the Julian, you need an avalanche. If even for the side of Joe or whoever that's going to be playing that Valentina, they need to try to hold on a second, but I'll talk about that later. They need to try to win the early parts of the game. Now, Enya going for this Bruno, I think this is like one of the big firsts. It kind of throws back to Potato in season 1.
Yep.
Bruno is very strong in the early towards the mid parts of the game where he takes his Berserker's Fury, and when he starts to get his Windtalker as well, he starts to when he starts to kick some soccer balls against the enemy team. SMG is looking to win the mid parts of the game before Team Flash reaches late.
Yep, I agree. I mean, so far, it looks like SMG's draft is kind of robust. But of course, we are still missing Alpha V9. Of course, you can see on the screen, they're still talking about it. But I want to hear you guys, the audience, right? We have not forgotten about you. I read the comments on YouTube. I read the comments on Facebook. You guys are a very active bunch. Alpha V9, of course, going back to his signature hero here, Esmeralda, the very, very wonderful performance by him in the last. So, of course, I'm hoping to see this again. But if we take a look at the draft, how are you feeling right now?
Personally,
yep.
Both these two teams drafted towards the keys of victory. SMG drafting towards early to mid parts of the game. Get a snowball rolling for Julian and Valentina and even the Eve. And then on the other side, Team Flash, they drafted towards the later parts of the game. Yes, there's a Matilda as a backseat just in case if anything happens, you get the eject button. But then again, both these two teams, I would say that they drafted really well. They're going in with this pick. However, I feel like SMG, on the other hand, a little bit too magic damage related, but we need to see what happens in the game.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that the only concern that I have from Team Flash right now is that, yeah, you have like the tankiness and the Bowman, the Esmeralda, yes, can do some damage, but you don't have like the sustained damage throughout. You have a lot of, in and out with the Matilda, and you have other options, but in terms of that team fight, when you're looking to just end the game, it's going to take a while for them to get to that stage. But let's go into this one. This one's going to be match 1, game 1, SMG versus Team Flash, a team against, a battle of 2 undefeateds. Again, you like Team SMG, and I'm happy to see that you're going to be wrong.
Whoa, you're really counting the eggs, chickens before they hatch, right? But ladies and gentlemen, this is the game to watch, because don't forget, yes, both these two teams, Team Oranges, yes, right? But Team Flash, the more veterans of the team. SMG, on the other hand, a bit more of a younger blood. This feels like, the older generation versus the younger generation, whether SMG can continue to hold that torch from the side of the veterans.
I definitely agree with that. And it's one of those moments where, we've seen it, at least in the other regions, where a lot of the other teams have kind of just, the rookie teams have done really well. I think that's been the story of MPL, at least across this region this season. Yeah, right? Which is actually kind of insane, right? So that said, I don't want to undermine what Team SMG have done. Plus, they're right next to us, so they could beat me up in the case that, I do continue with my shenanigans with that. But it's one of those things where I'm very happy to see that the MPL League has just kind of grown up. We have some very strong teams going into this one.
Yes, that's correct. But let's take a look. But hold on a second. Top side, Rum takes a bit of damage. Should be able to heal up very quickly. But Team Flash putting off on pressure on the top side, because the turtle will be spawning in another 20 seconds. Now, looking at the ultimates for the side, SG, they need that. Joe needs that leave. The real world manipulation come up online. Derry as well, so that they can actually try to take some big ultimates away from Flash and then play from there. However, from the side of Team Flash, they've already set up their tents, they've already set up bivouacs, and they're ready to fight this.
Yeah, they know it. They're going to be right on point with the turtle spawning right now. Reminiscent is nearby. Jox and Derry, on the other hand, are kind of a little bit of skirmish here. I don't know if they're going to actually commit for this one. And Derry's going to stick around, make sure that nobody gets a free turtle at the end of the day.
I like what Derry did just now, Holler. Derry just bought enough time. Remember I said Joe needs that level 4. He was a little bit behind schedule, and he just got it, and this means that SMG all of a sudden has this box right now, and they will try to force this.
Yeah, but the turtle's about half-life. The real manipulation, this is the first one. Jackson's going to skirt the turtle. Reminiscent is down as well, and they've got some kills. Alpha V9 getting very low. Needs to run to safety. He's going to dash to safety, but all in all, pretty good for SMG.
Pretty good for SMG, Holler, because remember, I said this, Derry just basically bought a lot of time for the side of SMG. If SMG enter that turtle fight without that real-world manipulation, you are going to be sure that Team Flash will take that turtle. Now, with that said, SMG does have that early game drop. However, there's a bit of a problem for the side of SMG. Take a look at the bottom side. Pokemon actually bullying Enya out of lane. This is usually because Popo and Koopa are very strong lane bully. Enya needs a lot more support, needs a lot more time. SMG needs to try to win this game via the neutral objective, which they did already, and they will try to find ways to kind of hard invade and win through the mid lane or some sort.
Oh, I love that. The Pokemon right there with the spider sense, realizing that something was going to happen. They actually had a 4-man rotation from SMG, and they got 0. They wasted time. They didn't get anything out of that.
Yeah, and take a look at the emblem for now. Enya going for that marksman emblem is definitely valuable, because this means that you're going to get some heals, you're going to get movement speed bonus so that you can continually chase. But look at what SMG is doing.
KCP go in right onto Joe. Joe's gonna just back. He's gonna dash away to safety. He's fine for now. Reminiscent is gonna whirlwind attack just on the little Bulbasaur, but that's pretty much the end of that. No one really dying on this one.
No one should die at that particular spot, because there's nothing to be gained. There's no inches in that no man's life. Oh, this is actually very bad for SMG. But speaking of which, Alpha V9 finds Joxo.
Oh, he's about half-life. He's going to be fine. Again, just, you're invading the jungle, making it very difficult for Jax to get anything going, and that's actually very smart. Now, Pokemon has actually gotten the outer turret bottom, rotates to the mid lane, and this is perfect. This is exactly what you want to do. You want to work on the outside in. Is it one of those moments with Jax? Mirror images to safety.
Yeah, KCP, this is the scariest part of KCP, right? Invading hard, there's a lot of dash as well. All of a sudden, this early game priority that SMG has is diminished. Flash took down the bottom lane turret, and now, you see a lane swap already for the side of Team Flash. But let's take a look at the items. Team Flash, right, because of that, Turtle kind of equalizes in terms of the gold lead, so you don't expect to see key core items being built out for the rest of the board. Eve does have the book so that he could start spamming all the skills. That's already a good pick. But then again, both these two teams are not backing down for now.
Yeah, Team Flash using this strategy. Oh, as they go in for this one, Rum getting very low. I mean, he's on his second health bar already.
Oh, no.
Pokemon has to run to safety. Alpha V9 is down. Darius been killed, and then with the lethal counter, will secure that one. Darius down as well as the tower.
Yeah, Team Flash, they took a lot of structures for SMGSG. The early game priority, the one that was talking about, feels really gone. SMGSG lost the early game for now. Team Flash dominated. Look, 2 side turrets already cleared out. You give so much space for Pokemon to farm up, and they're basically using Pokemon as a lane bully to try to poke the laners out. Flash, not in the laning mode anymore, by the way.